Hey friends, sure has been a little while since we got to hang out, so I wanted to give you all an update kind of on what's been going on and maybe, yeah, just where things are with my projects and whatever. So first up, for those of you who have missed Brothers Who Code over the last 2 weekends, the brother who codes is alive and well. He's just busy working on a new D&D campaign. You guys can check him out over at twitch.tv/SwissRPG. He's the DM over there. And yeah, I highly suggest watching it. They got some pretty cool campaign going on. The week before this, actually, I was at a friend's wedding, so I have kind of missed out on a bunch of time here. But I've been putting other free time to good use and have been really digging in a lot to get Golem to a point where this stream isn't just me building tools to build games, it's actually building games. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of the stuff that I've been working on. It's going to look mostly the same, but there's a bunch of stuff that changed under the hood. And we're going to see if we can build something tonight. I'm really excited. So let's just get right into this. And I'm actually going to remember to switch the camera. Check that out. Okay, so when we last left off, the interface looks pretty much like this for Golem, but things were arranged differently, things worked slightly differently, and one of the big features you might notice is this little check mark right here. So this makes me wish I could zoom in on it a little more for you to make you recognize the gravity of this check mark. One of the things I added was the ability for fields to be set using settings, so you don't have to actually go in and type every single value into these things. So if you remember, this is the transition after delay element here. So if I go in transition after delay, which is a script, just has a delay, which is a public float variable there. And what I've done is made it so that through some reflection magic, you can just type in the value you want if you want to. That'd be a very long delay. Or you can click the little check mark and it will give you a drop down from which you can pick settings. These settings can either be, you can just create one on the fly, or you can pick one of these ones that is already in your settings file here. Say long delay for that one. So in this case, the settings will be either on the golem itself, or if you want to share settings between multiple golems, then you can use settings inheritance and actually pick an asset that's common to multiple golems, so they can all share the same values. And these things are hierarchical. It was a whole thing to get this to work, let me tell you. But the point of it is, I can now click this little drop down, get short delay, long delay, put those in there, and these values will be filled in automatically when the golem is built. So that's pretty cool. You can see down here I actually have a setting for a Unity object reference as well. So that's pretty cool. So I got the little object reference in there. I also made a design decision for Golem that I'm not going to do something that a lot of other scripting languages actually allow you to do, or other visual scripting languages allow you to do, which is you can't define variables on the fly. And what this means is, for example, Bolt, if you look in there, they have a variables manager table, which allows you to, I think what did they call them? I can't remember. I just watched the video. They have like a instance version or instance set of variables, and then one for the scene that you're in, and then global variables, and I think there's another one that's like stored variables, ones that are serialized to disk. Now, conceptually, super cool. Definitely need these things. The thing that I'm removing is the ability to define these on the fly. And what that means is you have to actually write code to define your variables, because this whole tool is supposed to be built as a visual scripting language without oven mitts on. I'm not keeping the programmer from doing programmery things. In fact, I'm relying on the programmer doing programmery things to make this work. So you'll see the add delta time to variable here. This field now has, in this variable, has a little drop down. And under the drop down, it says position aspect. There can be only 3 variables you can pick, X, Y, or Z. That's it. And where this comes from is over here on the side. Every golem has a number of aspects, and each aspect is basically like it's basically like an interface where if the golem has an aspect, then you know that it implements a certain interface. In the interface that it defines, in this case for position aspect, if the golem has a position aspect, well, hey, then it says the position aspect itself, and I'll show you the class definition for this in a minute, says, guess what? I've got variables x, y, and z. They are floats. They default to these values. So if I go in here and look at position aspect, this is how variables are defined. Now, you might be wondering, oh, well, what if two different aspects define the same variable? It's like, aha, this is actually where the magic is. Because it's an interface, they would actually reference the same value. And similarly, those variables also refer to, or are also the same variables referred to in the golem itself. So the cool thing about this is that all the type information is known, and I don't have to deal with any of that. I don't have to deal with creating them, storing them, writing editors for their initial values. Well, actually, I still have to do that, but you get the point. Like, there's just a lot less management involved, especially because if you look at the code here for it, every variable is going to look like this, and it's all accessed through specific interfaces, and these interfaces can actually have a lot more data bundled together, which I think makes them much less ad hoc. So basically you can say, hey, I can write scripts or cells that depend on collections of behavior rather than just a single like little piece of behavior. Like, oh, it has to have this variable, or oh, maybe it has this variable, maybe it doesn't, or maybe it has this script setting attached to it, or maybe it doesn't. It's like, no, you either get all of it, you get none of it. And it's the programmer who defines what those interfaces are. So that's cool. Back in the golem here, those are the two major new pieces. I think the only other one, the other like kind of neat thing that you could see is it the joystick one that has a bunch of these? Yeah. So you can use settings actually inside of aspects as well to set their properties. So that's just kind of neat. Oh, and you can actually remove aspects now. Couldn't do that before. So it's bare minimum functional, I think, to be able to get us to a point where maybe I can make a little demo game of some sort. So that's what I'm going to try and do. But the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run this, and it's actually going to work. There we go. Nailed it. So you can see the script going. It just goes up, right, up, right, up, right. And if I go back into the Golem editor and pop this open and say, hey, maybe I actually wanted to go further to the right, I just swapped that over to long delay. Run it again. Now it's going for 2 seconds to the right, 1 second up. 2 seconds to the right, 1 second up. So far so good. All right, so the first thing I need to do tonight is I'm going to package up Golem into one of those asset packages, start a new project, and import that asset package so it's kind of just on its own. It's got to get that stuff working first. Then the next step will be to pick a game. So if any of you guys have a super simple game, I was thinking maybe Asteroids. I don't know, maybe like a 2D platformer, although the physics in that can kind of get a little more annoying. Maybe a driving game of some sort, like top-down driving game. I can build something. But if you have any ideas, let me know. All right, so first up, let's go check out our packages here. Oh, this is still called Omnibus. This will be good to change. So it's now called Golem. And we need Golem itself. And I seem to remember it having a dependency. I think it has a dependency in the editor code on some of the 2D math stuff. Let's see. You know what's the easy way to do this? I just build it, import it into a new project, see what I'm missing. Yeah, because if all this stuff is... I know there's a line, it's a line intersection. Well, I can't find it easily, so you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna build it and see what breaks. What's the worst that could happen? Alright, all that stuff is set. And we're gonna build Golem. There we go, got the Unity package all set. Nope, I don't know why I clicked that. Okay. Let's go find... wherever this built. I think it's in... packages. There we go. Okay, I've got my Unity package ready to go. So I'm going to just open up another copy of Unity here. I think I can do this okay with the new versions. Ooh, I already have a sandbox. Yeah, we're gonna build in the sandbox. Sounds like a good place to play. Hey, Unity. There we go. You're awake. Oh, the sandbox is where I was playing with all of those, right. All the assets that I bought in the Humble Unity bundle, which was just fantastic. There was so much ridiculous stuff in there. However, I want to see if I can show you guys what I built in here. No, I guess I didn't actually save it. It's alright, it wasn't that fancy anyway. Okay, I'm just going to delete all of that and start a new sandbox. Unity's a little sleepy today. Also, it's deleting probably 200 gigs worth of stuff, so that's okay. We'll give it some time. Alright, so while I'm waiting on Unity to think, for those of you who haven't tuned in before, Pretty Simple Fun is my idea of a place for people who make games in their spare time to kind of come together, hang out, talk about projects, that sort of thing. And yeah, I am interested in learning to kind of teach people better and, I don't know, help people out when they're working on their own projects. So feel free to ask questions, you know, if you want to point things out or just want help with your own project, like I'm totally happy to do that too. I'm mostly here working on my own stuff. Well, actually for a couple of reasons. One, because I want to get better at streaming, want to get better at, you know, talking about the code that I'm building and that sort of stuff out loud while I'm doing it. But also kind of as motivation for actually getting my own stuff done. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing this attempt at actually building a little game live on stream right now. I've been a little bit anxious actually about using Golem for reals rather than just kind of toying with it, because toying with it is really fun and there's no stress involved in that. So we're gonna try to build a game, which is stressful. All right, let's see, let's make a new scene. No, I don't want to save you. All right, and let's see if it will let me. There we go. Okay, let's see what goes wrong when I import Golem. Yep, there's full serializer. Could have called that one. Was that it? Really? Okay. Where are you, full serializer? There we go. All right, build that again. Popped out a new Golem. Oh, and by the way, I call this project Golem because Golem is a creature that has been animated by magic. It is like inanimate materials that are brought together by magic, and I thought that was kind of apt for what this is supposed to do. It's basically, yeah, is basically a way of bringing your game objects to life through both visual scripting and a little bit of, I don't know, kind of project integration. It's supposed to just make making games faster. For me in particular, because there's just so much boilerplate that I write over and over and over again. That's kind of the whole point of LabKit in general, is there's just so many things that Unity should just have built in. Golem is like one step beyond that, I think, which is kind of a novel programming concept that I think should just exist, which kind of marries a couple of patterns that I've seen throughout my years as a game developer. Hey, good. All right, so we're down to just trigger, which is fine because trigger. All right, good. It opened in the right place. Is here. There we go. Okay, so what are we gonna build? Let's see what's on the let's see what I can grab on the asset store. Maybe I can just make a skeleton walk around or something. There's that one skeleton asset that everybody uses for everything. I don't know if it'll be a game, but you know, at least it'll be a use of this. Oh, hey, there it is. Vector2 ext does not exist in the current context, which means I need the Vector2. There we go. Specifically this one. All right, so in packages, Golem, I need the Vector2 ext file specifically. One more build, and that should be all of the pieces that I need. Oh, did it overwrite trigger again? Yeah, of course it did. That's fine. Okay. I should really move trigger out of there and into my own assets. Cool. All right, let's go on the asset store. Just see what we got going on. How the heck do we get to the asset store in here? There it is. Okay, we're looking for some free 3D assets. Let's look at some characters. I guess, so this is actually what I got as the heroic fantasy creatures as part of that bundle. I could just use a heroic fantasy creature. If I remember, their animations separated properly. Their animations aren't separated properly. So, you know what, there's actually this little guy. He's like a little, guy with a couple swords that I've seen before. I've used him in a project. I'm gonna try and find him. Alright, and he's free. Price, 0. Used to have a button for free. What's happened, Unity? Is that the skeleton everybody uses? No, that's not. There's a different skeleton everybody uses. Sort by popularity. I think this is how I find them. Oh no, this was the default sort. Alright, where is he? That's it? I wonder if they cleaned up the asset store and removed him. Oh, this is the skeleton everybody uses. Did I just miss him? I don't think I missed him. Alright, let's look for just free characters in general. Is this him? This might be him. Nope. I think he was called something like that though. I mean, I guess I don't really need this specific guy, but it would be nice. He's got a like a soft spot for this knight. Huh? I guess either they must have taken him down or something. Yeah, because he's just not up here anymore. Oh well. Okay. We're gonna use. We're gonna use that the one skeleton. Okay. Good, he's got all his animations separate. Just gonna import him. All right, we're gonna make our character. So far, so good. Put the body underneath and put the model underneath that. This is the way I usually do this so that the character, the top level character object just never has to move. And we can give him a golem. All right. And we don't have any aspects. So we don't have any settings. We don't have anything. We can't do anything yet because I got to write some code. Okay, so is my skeleton even? Oh, hey, buddy, look at that. All right, so if I run this right now, nothing should happen. Excellent. You know what? We are right on point with that. Oh, you know what we should do? We should put the camera underneath there. That way, and I'm going to put this camera here. So here's a cool trick you can do. So if you like where your camera is in your scene view here, if you select your camera, then you go to Game Object, Align with View, and now the camera in game is the same as my camera in the scene. Neat. So, what the heck is a physical camera? That's new. Field of view is calculated from properties for simulating physical attributes. Oh, I see. So it's... Yeah, gotcha. That's... Alright. More complicated than I need it to be. I'm fine with a fake camera for right now. Sweet. So now if I run the game, character is there, continuing to not do anything. Why is my FOV so... Oh, because physical camera screwed it up. Okay. 55 is actually still pretty narrow, but that's fine. Okay, so this guy does not have an animation controller, so I'm going to... I don't think there's... Yeah, there's no animator controller there. So let's create an animation controller for the skeleton. That way at least I can give him some default animations. All right. Hey, buddy. So this is going to be your idle layer. So the way that I usually divide this up is that there's an idle layer that's just kind of like always playing in the background. And then there's a movement layer that sits on top of that gets blended in and out depending on whether you're moving or not. Because that way, basically, whatever movement you're doing, it can always return to idle. So this is walk layer. And we're going to set that to 0 for right now. It's an override blend. This guy is just going to idle. Why is that not? Oh. That's exciting. Oh, I see. They're all exported as separate objects. Interesting. All right. Idle. Hopefully this is marked as loop. No. Because I need to go here and loop that one. So this is kind of a weird thing about how Unity imports just how Unity imports model files. So you see the way this is exported, each of these skeletons is actually its own. What does this look like? Is this an FBX or something? Oh, right, and you can't even see what I'm clicking on right now. So back in the project view, so each of these skeleton files is actually its own file, and the animations are all separate. And when they import, they actually import all of these separate objects. Like I think the entire model is embedded in every one of these models, or in every one of these files that exists just to display that one animation. So I don't know, it's kind of wasteful, but whatever. That's just what happens sometimes. Anyway, to fix the idle animation to make it loop, I had to go in here and adjust the loop time, but I can't adjust it here for whatever reason. This is well, actually, the reason is this is a generated file. This isn't the source file. You have to go to the parent, this is the actual file on disk. These are just like Unity generated files that came from importing the file. I have to go in here and edit the animation import settings that get generated so that this animation clip will loop, so that I can go in here and this thing will loop. Fantastic. So it's a very long way of getting to the point. I'm gonna put this thing back down here. That the skeleton should now idle. Yeah, look at him. Look at him go. All right, we have an idling skeleton. We would like a walking skeleton. So I'm going to, let's see how many walks we get from this. Looks like we have a walk and a run. What is a stand? How is stand not idle? There's stand. Oh, I see. Stand is not the idle. Stand is you're paying attention, I guess, to something. Okay. All right, run works. It's a goofy attack. I love it. Okay, great. This is gonna be wonderful. Okay, so walk layer, we're gonna create a blend tree that has two things in it. First of all, so the parameter here for should be walk speed. Well, it's just gonna be. This is the trick, because if the animation speeds aren't keyed properly. Oh no, but I can adjust their parameters individually. So this is just move speed. What I was thinking is, so you can only multiply the speed of the entire blend tree. You can't use a parameter to multiply the speeds of individual subtrees or individual subclips. So if the walk and run are not keyed appropriately, then you have to kind of do a disjoint speed for each one, but you can actually do that because you can adjust the speeds manually underneath with constant multipliers. So I'm going to go in here, and that's going to be a move speed multiplier on the blend tree. And I'm going to make another one that is walk run. I always name my variables in here that are being involved in blends based on what their 0 value is and what their 1 value is, or maybe their -1, 0, 1 value. Just makes things easier. All right, the one-dimensional walk run. This is gonna be nice and easy. All right, walk animation. Run animation. And I bet that neither of these are marked as loop. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that really quick. There we go. Okay, so now we should have a skeleton that idles. And then when I go in with the animator and say, hey, Mr. Skeleton, I'm going to set your walk layer to the maximum weight. Oh, and make your move speed 1. Now you're going to walk, and now you're going to run. And I can even make you blend nicely between the two if I wanted to. I think. Yeah, there you go. You know, maybe I just use... I'll just use these as my that's what I'll do. I'll just use these as my move speed. So I'll actually take my movement speed from the animation parameters, which is not usually the way that you do that. Usually you drive the animation. So I'm going to delete the move speed. And this walk layers, blend tree. Here I'm changing this. We'll no longer have a parameter. Cool. Let's main. All right, so the next step is I actually want to use Golem to hook up my inputs to this character so that I can make this character move around. Now, the question is whether I want to make this like a 3D game where, you know, the character's here and you kind of just follow around behind them, or if I want to make this one where the character moves around and, you know, they can move in any direction, your camera is just kind of over top of them. I tend to prefer that kind of game, so WASD is just going to map left, right, up, down on screen. So that's what I'm going to build, because I get to make this whatever I want. Maybe I'll make him like shoot spells off in a direction or something. I don't know. Or I guess, well, he can't shoot spells, so attack in a direction? That sounds good. All right, so this character, I need a few things in here. So here's the Golem. Right now we have a enter state, and this is just going to be where the main control for this guy lives. There's going to be another state here where I'm just going to do a bunch of logic in here for all the movement. I don't know if these are going to have another state. I could have a dead state. I'll add that later. So I'm just going to create a transition. That was always going to happen. And I need to... Now I'm really at the point where I actually got to write some code. So what are the things I need to reference? The camera is going to need to move around to follow this guy. And the body is also going to need to have its position driven. So let's go do this. So we're going to call this character aspect. Let's call skeleton. Okay. So I'm going to make a skeleton character aspect. I want to make a variable called position. And I'm not going to give these tooltips for now, just to make this faster. Vector3. I should really just copy paste this from the other project, because that's going to be way faster. So in here, in testing, which means I should probably have some of this stuff built in, like generators or something like that. Okay, let me open that up really quick. So, because this is just copy pasted. So this is going to be vector3 instead. And instead of x, make this position. Ah, right. Cool. So now we have a position. Oh, right. Wait, this is the wrong Unity. There's the right Unity. So now we have a position in this aspect. The other thing that I need to do is I need to add this aspect to the Golem itself. And I actually have an idea on how to remove this, but for right now, I'm going with what I've got and trying to find the pain points. So partial class Golem. I had to actually go in and add this aspect to every Golem so that every Golem just has references to all their aspects. Okay, so now I have this character aspect, and I want to use its position to drive the position of the skeleton. Where do I want to do this? Yeah, all right. Let's just go with that first. That way, well, I can hook that up, but then I won't be able to do anything. So I actually need a script to control that first. Yeah, okay. So public class, skeleton character input. I forgot if I can do this, require aspect. It might actually respect the require aspect, but maybe not. Remind me of how these things are written. Okay, so it's only the ones that I need. Let's do an on update and say Golem skeleton character aspect. I want to bring in some more lab kit stuff. Okay. I'm just going to go and build everything in here. I want to bring in my utilities and extensions and stuff because that just makes life so much easier. All right, let's bring in my extensions. All right, so here comes some lab kit extensions. So for reference, this is what I'm bringing in. Just a whole bunch of stuff. I actually don't need this editor stuff, but the rest of it's great. Let's do it. Okay, so then did it import the rest over here? It sure did. So what I can do here, direction on XZ, I think is the name of that. Oh, I think it's, oh yeah, it's using, I haven't put this all in the right namespace yet. Half of it's still in GGEZ, so half of it's in GGEZ LabKit. Okay, there is in direction on XZ. So all this is going to do is just set the skeleton's position to a point that orbits the origin. So that's what that script does. So we're going to go to my Golem editor and say add skeleton character input, which just has no data whatsoever. Then the next thing I need, because I don't have, some of these are going to kind of get backported as basic features, but I need a class to actually set a transform's position. Yeah. How specific do I want to be? Just be generic and see what happens. Oh, I think that has to be a ref, right? So for inputs and outputs, so this is actually got to be this is going to be a new extension because I need a vector3 pointer. I wonder if there's a way for me to do this without, in the future, using annotations, or because I solved this problem for variables, because variable references, this is one of the things that I had to kind of debate with myself, was how to set up variable references inside of cells. And I think the solution that I came to was using annotations. So I wonder if I can do the same thing with this, where I just use annotations. I don't know. I'm going to write this down though, because it's something I need. Can I replace 3ptr bool pointer, etc. with annotated fields of generic type? All right. It's a vector3 pointer to the position, and I need a transform, and in the cell, I'm going to override update. It's not override. It might just be an implementation. But something's weird there. It might just be the IntelliSense and Visual Studio Code though. Okay, so on this update, all I do is set the transform's position. Transform.position equals golem.get. Oh, I'm gonna have to add this to this as well. This I actually got to go to the Golem and add. So every new type that gets supported, I have to go and add a, so which means that this actually needs to go straight up into Golem itself. No, this is kind of fine. I mean, really there just becomes a bank of all of these different types. But if you need to add your own user types, you go in and edit the thing anyway. This actually, the lack of abstraction here actually might make this better. I don't know. I'm not sold on it yet. So this is vector3 pointer. But it does make it kind of a pain. Just putting it out there. There we go. Okay. So now we have the get set for that. And it does actually, because I just wrote it. Then I need to get vector3. This one is modeled directly after the thing here in testing again. Oh wait, which I already have. So I think it's like read float. Read float variable. Oh, require variables. I can get rid of that because everybody has variables now. Write that down. Okay, just replace this entirely with read vector3 variable. Is there not a... Oh, I see. If it doesn't have this type, this is the specific typed version of it, which goes through and just does the object stuff for... Oh, and it tells you whether or not it has the variable. Oh, that's silly. There should just be an object version of that. I mean, for right now, not for the future, but ref object value. Oh wait, does this... You can't ref on something... Shoot. Right, which means I need to do this, and you make one more, which is the generic version of it, which is ref t. Then I can say object value equals so in order to call the other version, I have to box it, basically.
You don't know how you manage to be conscious, how you manage to grow and shape this body of yours. That doesn't mean to say that you're not doing it. Equally, you don't know how
Okay, and this one, there we go. Now I need to do the same thing for set.
And galactifies the galaxies. You don't know.
Oh, and this is the one that I already wrote, which I suppose this one could just be templated as well, right? Oh, this is wrong. Oh wait, oh, vector 3 pointer. Now we're good. Oh, because it has this invalid value, which is type specific. That's okay. All right, I'll deal with that for now. All right, so read vector 3 value variable should work. Let's see if this thing compiles. If Unity wakes up, Unity is woken up. Let's go to the Golem. Say, I'm gonna add a read vector 3 variable. Ah, need to add the aspect. Oh, that require aspect didn't work. So require aspect on the skeleton character input script just didn't do anything. It should have automatically popped that aspect onto the Golem when I added it. So, oh, and the first time, I'm just finding all kinds of things. First time you see a variable, it creates a null reference exception when you expand it in the inspector. Because it doesn't actually have a value yet, and this is reading the runtime value of it. So that's telling you, I don't know, it's just not working. All right, set transform position, connect these to each other. It's going to read the position variable and set the position of the body. Cool. So if this all worked properly, then this is going to go in, skeleton character input's going to run, which we wrote here to just orbit the origin. Then this is going to hook up that variable change to the body, and it's just going to go in circles. Fingers crossed, everybody. Bye. Hey, that's working. Kinda. Why's my Z all up there? Oh, because it's... right. Don't mind me. This time needs to be multiplied by a lot. Because it's in degrees. Also, the camera is not pointed at the origin. I don't think anything's at the origin right now. Is this guy at the origin? I mean, these things should be at the origin. Oh, there's the origin. What's the origin doing way up there? Oh, hold on. There we go. That's the origin. Great. Cool. So let's move the camera back here. What in the... Ah. Oh, I was looking at wow, exactly the transforms. Okay, so now when we look at this, hopefully we see look at him go. Why does it look... I've only multiplying it by 2. Why is... Oh, this guy is tiny! He's so little! He's so little! He's like... He's itsy bitsy. Okay, so I need to fix him, because he is just the smallest. Okay, where is his... Oh, the scale factor's way off. There we go. Just forget that. Give him a 1. There you go. There's Big Boy Skeleton. Alright, so I'm going to take you, set the main camera to something more reasonable. Shoot, what is it? There we go. Align with view. Okay, now when he moves around... Ooh, that's ugly. Oh, what's going on there? That's not good. I don't like that. What is wrong with your animator? Ooh. Oh. Ooh. I can't just do this. I have to actually scale him the other way. So this is why I separate the model from the body usually. And like this whole hierarchy that I have set up here, this is why I do this way. It's because sometimes there's only certain ways to fix certain problems. Okay, so now if I do this, and he should move around in circles. There we go, he's moving around in circles. That looks like about a correct dimension for him. I think each of those, let's look at this in scene view. Yeah, each of these is 1 unit, so he would be 1 unit wide-ish, 2 units tall, that's good. Okay, so he needs to be 10x'd, and all the rest of this, I mean, this thing seems to work. So let's move around at...
What are you going to do? You're never going to feel anything?
Let's move around slowly. So one of the things the ways that I can just kind of kick this off, because I need to be able to adjust his direction as well, is by having him walk in circles. And then once I can have him walk in circles, I can hook that up to input, and away we go. So, but you guys saw, the important part, Golem's doing what it should be doing, which is it setting a variable, reading a variable, hooking it up. So far, so good. Okay, I'm going to go steal read float variable from here and stick this into... Oh, this is all supposed to be the character aspect. I'm just kind of like jamming all this extra code in here. Let's be at least a little bit cleaner about this, just so I can kind of keep my bearings. Cells and scripts. Okay. Take this, put the header on both, and any of these, so that aspect I'm going to leave there. Any of these 2 cells, 3 cells, are going to leave with me over to the cells section, and this script is going to go to the script section. Cool. So that, okay, the aspect is just the thing that stays here. I'm going to add a new piece to the aspect. I'm going to add a heading. So the heading is just the direction that the character is going to be facing in degrees. There's a float, and that's what you get. So as you are probably not going to be surprised to find out, I'm going to create a set transform heading. So this is one of those interesting things. Because as a programmer, I'm writing this code, I don't have to deal with things like how you would normally have to set this up in other environments where in order to set the angle at which the character is facing, I would have to do something like get the float value, convert it from degrees into radians or something like that, and then use that to compose a vector 3 with the y component set to that value, and then set that vector 3 into the appropriate place in the cell. No, I just skip all that. Just like, no, actually what I want to do, I want this as transform heading. That's what I want to do. So, so I'm just going to do that. So float pointer, in comes the heading. Transform, transforms Euler angles equals golem.get heading, and I need to do this. Yeah. I can just write the code to do basically what I just said in a much easier way. Vector 3. All right, so we get the y, stick it in there, Euler angles, away we go. Great. Everybody's happy. Okay, recompile here. Unity to reload. I should really have the Golem editor on reload because there's going to be a lot of back and forth here. Write this down. Golem editor window should persist link to Golem through reloading scripts. Because if this is the intended workflow, then that should really be as tight as possible. I shouldn't have to keep going over here and click opening editor, open editor, open editor. Okay. So we're going to do a read float variable. And now that I have the heading, I'm going to set the transform heading of, so here's where settings starts to get interesting. So what I can do is I can just be like, hey, guess what I want to do? This body, same thing there. Except what I can do is I can also say transform, new transform setting, and it gives it this god-awful GUID. I want to make it on create new setting, pop a prompt to name the setting. So you can see the settings appeared here. This is body. So now I just have one reference to the body, and here I go say body. Use a setting, body. Done. Now I can just change the body to be whatever I want, and it will always be that. There we go. So now the float variable is connected there. Can I connect these? Oh, I can connect those. That's not good. I think this is yeah, make sure that input output port types match. Draw a red line if types don't match. And don't connect them. This is why you eat your own dog food. You find a lot of things along the way that are just, you just gotta fix it. Okay, so in this case, got the heading, set the transforms heading. That's gonna do that for the body. Great. Go back in here, and the script that is doing this, I'm gonna say skeleton dot heading equals angle so it's going to be what the angle, it's the tangent, so it's the angle plus 90. And everything is in degrees. I think I'm just going to respect Unity's convention here, even though, come on guys, it's radians. Everybody uses radians. I don't know. Okay, so if I do this, it should, oh, I am still very, very zoomed out. So in scene view, okay, it's actually kind of hard to tell because he's like wiggling around over there. Can you knock that off? I'm just gonna have you run because at least you run forward. Hey! All right. Look at him. Look at him. Just, that's even just about the right speed. I almost nailed that. Look at that. Although this is the, you know what, I don't care. This angular speed, I'm gonna have to actually derive it. That looks pretty good. All right, let me fix the game view though. Take this camera, move him in, align with view. Okay, so the actual speed, I'm going to want to back calculate the angular speed so that I can actually kind of use this thing. So the actual speed for this character is going to be what is it? It's the angle in radians times, I mean, it's the radial distance. So the angle in radians times the radius. So there's the radius. So the angle is going to be the speed times time over radius times rad to deg. Oh, that's the angle. Oh, no, sorry. All of that is the angle. The angle plus 90. Okay. Let's go to the animator and set the default weight to 1 for now. To go fix this later. He's going a little fast. I'd say he's going a little fast. Say maybe like 0.2. No. 20 times slower is probably fine. There we go. Okay. Nice. That looks good. So the next thing I want to do is I want to be able to... So now I can control his position and his heading. So let's use Golem to actually move this guy around using inputs. So there's a number of ways that I could do this. I could use the cell system to read inputs, like read keys, and from there kind of link it up visually to show, hey, this key is hooked into this thing, which then drives this logic that is maybe interpreted by a script on the state, or maybe interpreted just by other cells, which then drives the variables, which then drive the position. I can do that. That's not really the way that Golem is set up to be used, though, because the whole like data flow portion of this is really just so that you can easily get your stuff out of states and out of aspects and into Unity. Just like pump it out into Unity so that you don't have to do all the hookup yourself. Because that's the really annoying part of using Unity, is having to maintain all these references to different objects on all of your different fields, and just like it's so much easier to say, hey, this character aspect has a position. What do you do with it? I don't know. But, you know, if you have a position, you should probably do something with it. I'm just going to tell you what your position is. Go figure it out. And then somewhere else, you can hook up that position to all sorts of things. Like in a little bit here, I'm going to hook up that position to the camera as well. And you're going to see how easy that is. And it's just going to be magical. So for right now, what I'm getting at is that the input is actually part of this script. It's not... It actually might even just be a different... Yeah, so the position... So right now, this just makes you walk in a circle. The input actually can be one of two things. I can make a section that reads input and attaches input to the character, which I think I'm just going to do. Yeah, so forget the other way. The other way is just kind of like boil it all into one place, but I want to see just how this works. As aspects, we're going to make a new aspect called player input aspect. And in this case, this aspect is going to be different. Yeah. Left, right, up, down. Although these should follow naming conventions. Left, right, up, down. And then I can make a script that require aspect just doesn't work, so I'm just not even going to use it. Read keyboard input. So on update, golem dot aspect. Input dot left equals input. It's from the actual input system dot key. It's get key, because if it's only get key down is only in the frame when it actually goes down. Key code. Actually, you know what I can do here? I can even do I don't know why I need to do this, but you know, I can, so why not? I should do this better. Right. Up. Down. Formatting is important. All right. That's all this does. So I'm going to go ahead and add this into here. Add a, oh, wait for it. Add read keyboard input. Left is going to be, oh, and because I wrote a custom editor for the key codes, you can click this little thing here and actually just push the key and it will select it in this list. So left, right, up, and down. Neat. Oh, but read keyboard input's actually going to happen after the skeleton character input. I should add a way to change that order. Order of scripts on a state. Would also really like to rename states. And be able to remove scripts from a state using a button. Maybe make something like add component button for states because it is really obvious. So right now you have to right click and then say add, and then there's going to be a list of stuff to add. It would be probably better to do an add component type thing where you get this drop down. Oh yeah, I can even just copy all that. Copy drop down and search pattern. So I want to just reuse their, I'm just going to make this. I'm going to remake this exactly and put it here and have it for scripts. So no, maybe not exactly, but pretty close. Okay. Oh, and I want default sizes. Allow default sizes for components. Okay, where was I? Right, skeleton character input. Character input here, we're going to say public float speed. So for your walking speed. And I think that's all I need. So if, so hold on, we're going to read the input here. We're going to say x is 0 and c is 0. If input.left, x minus equals 1. This depends on orientation, but I will orient the camera such that this becomes true. This is Z. And then we're going to say normalized to 0. Small magnitude, which doesn't matter, times the speed. times delta time. To vector 3 on the XZ plane. Then we're going to say movement dot to direction is the heading. Oh right, I have to actually get the aspect here. The position is just the position of the movement added to it. So this to direction on XZ is another extension method that came from LabKit. That's why I added all this stuff, because it just makes that way easier. All right, so as you see here, it should just move your character around now. So I'm going to assign that a default value. Let's go over here. It's going to reload. Skeleton character input's going to get a new field on it for the first time. Hey, look at that. I got a speed, which can be a setting if I wanted to. I'm just going to make it a value that I type in for right now. Okay. This should work. Let's see what happens. Save that. Kick it off. Null reference exception. Object not set to a reference. On update, I do not have a player input aspect. So this input aspect does not exist. So it's just nulling out everywhere. So let's fix that. Player input aspect. There we go. Why are these? Oh, that actually looks kind of confusing. I can change these things to be settings, but they're also just Boolean toggles. I really want to style these differently. That's okay. I want to style them with like a little, I don't know, setting icon or something. Okay, so he's not actually moving. That's left. That's right. That's down. That's up. Look, he's walking around, and Golem is driving this. So let's orient the camera properly. So the up is positive Z. So it's going to be this way. Up. There we go. Down, left, and right. And hey, we don't even have the problem which normally occurs. So the reason I used this normalize here is so that when you walk on diagonals, you don't walk faster. But we do have the problem where your character just kind of, well, so for one, he always reorients north. And for two, he's always walking. And of course, the blend between directions doesn't look so good, but we'll get to that in a second. So the first one I want to fix is reorienting north. So how I can do this is I'm pretty sure normalized or 0, there's a version. I think there's a version that tells me whether it ends up being 0. Oh, I didn't do that. Whatever, I'll just do this. I'm going to only set the heading if you're moving. You know what? I don't really need this to be super optimized. So we're going to do this. There we go. Okay, so that was the easiest one to fix. So now your heading will remain if you're not moving. All right, cool. So the next one's going to be, I'm going to make your character transition from idle back and forth into the moving state. So I'm going to add a new piece to this aspect that is a idle blend. Yeah, let's do an idle blend. This will make me make a few more components, which should be interesting. So if you're idle, then I can actually compute that up in the script very easily, which is actually just bool idle equals the movement square magnitude is very small. And I'll go through blending all these things later and making it look really nice, but for right now, just doing this. Idle is 1 or 0. If you're idle, then don't set your heading, otherwise do set your heading. Okay, and if you all remember correctly, then in the animator here, I blend between the idle layer, which is always running, and the walk layer based on a weight on the walk layer. And this weight is just going to be the opposite of the idle parameter. So I can use a cell to actually just change this animator's value. So I'm going to use one that says set animator float or set animator layer weight. And I'm going to have another one that, so I can have another cell that actually inverts the value of the float, or I can just have a parameter on here. In this case, I'm just going to have a parameter on here. Public bool invert weight. And this is animator parameter. And the animator's set layer weight. All right, it's going to need to know what layer. Doesn't it have one that takes not a layer index? Oh no, that's the only one. I guess there must be a way to get the layer index. Animator get layer index of the layer name. Okay. This is a job for acquire. If we invert it, then we want 1 minus. So in this, I am basically only ever using this as an out parameter. I'm never using it as a ref. I wonder if that is important. I mean, in the case where this weight is invalid, then I don't do anything with this. And I don't set the out value, but I don't know if that matters. Okay, so this is good. This is only going to run when it's dirty. That's fine. Set the layer weight. Okay. Set animator layer weight is set. So now, go back in the Golem editor. Oh, nothing takes 0. Ah, right, because I need to say layer name. And we're going to pop open this Golem again. And in here, we're going to read another float variable. Oh, which is something that I actually do have. Oh yeah, because it maps it all automatically. So then I go through here and say new cell, set animator layer weight. And we got a few more parameters in this one. So I'm going to go grab the skeleton animator, stick that there. Connect the output here of idle. I'm going to invert the layer weight and say set the layer walk, I think. Set the name of our layer, walk layer. I suppose if I'm really clever, I can make this into like like a layer reference pair and have all that stuff kind of have a nice little drop down so you can pick the layer name. That'd be handy. Nothing I need to do right now though. Okay, so when I run this, now we should be in idle unless I'm moving, in which case nothing happens. All right, what's going on there? Let's go look at our scripts. Idle is being set. Idle is being set based on that. It is always 1, otherwise it's 0. If we get the weight, invert the weight. Well, so it is being set at least once. Let's see what's happening. Unity bugger. Oh, okay, so I have to actually close this. This is that's lab kit. Okay, so in order to launch, it's not actually coming in here, which means it's not getting a change in the idle value. So let's go look in the scripts to see what's going on here. Idle is true. Oh, okay, here's the problem. Can y'all see it? I'm checking for idle super late here. I think this is the problem. Because the delta time is going to be low. So the movement is actually going to be very small even when you are moving. So I think that it's telling you you're always idle, which makes sense because my character is also not moving anymore. So if I check this, idle equals x equals 0. I have to split this up. Delta. So in this case, it's just normalized. It's not actually, it hasn't had these other pieces applied yet. Okay, so that should make me correctly detect idle. There we go. Hey, and then you're idle, and then you're not. And you're idle, and then you're not, and then you're idle, and you're not. There you go. There we go. Now, it's still obviously very choppy, and your movement is really slow. Also, you probably want to move a little faster. Even in walk, it seems actually maybe even a little slower. Huh. Maybe just like a hair slower. It's really like 0.9. Okay. Well, now I've hooked up that variable to the animator's layer weight. So let's do something fun. This idle variable, let's use it to blend nicely, actually. So I'm using it as a float, which I can totally do. I think I had something in here. I could just use it as a bool and use that bool to drive this. Let's see. I think it's going to be most similar to lerp float to 0. I'm going to make this instead damp input to output. So this is going to be a new cell. It's going to be damp input to, or damp, actually just damp. It's just a dampening, damp float. All right. Duration is not the parameter here. The actual parameter is. Let's smooth this. Do I already have? No, I don't. Okay. I can look this up really quick. Damp float. C#. Here it is. All right, there's the code that does this. So there's a damp that is going to be smoothing. Okay. Just set the current value to getting the input value. This delta doesn't matter. The current is moving towards the input. That's right. So if it's, what this one did is this changed your new your input. So in this case, I can just get the input every time. It doesn't have to matter. I don't care if it's dirty. I just get the input. Oh, which I need to actually get. There we go. Got it. Okay. So get the input. These don't matter. Oh, no, the current is just whatever it is. So on acquire, it is going to be dirty, I think, but I don't need to make it. No, I do need to make it run. Oh, no, I can just set the output here. I don't actually need to make it run. Set output immediately to the input on the first one. Cool. I guess I could get output as a way of saving space here. I mean, because they're just pointers. I could get the output. Oh, but then if something else set it, then... Oh, that's interesting. I can actually share registers. You know what? I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with sharing registers. I'm going to add that into breaking my brain. Can you read back your outputs when sharing registers or I'm going to say you can read back outputs when sharing registers. What does this mean / do? You're not supposed to do that. You're actually really not supposed to do that. It kind of breaks some of the core assumptions of how cells work. But the fact that you can probably makes that bad. Okay, current equals that. Set the current. That is the target. And we want to damp the current toward the target with the smoothing factor and the current delta time. Hello? Smooth delta time. Okay. So this new damp float cell. Oh, entity does not exist. Oh, right. Hey, this is written for the old way. Open that editor again. Okay, so what this damping is going to do, let's put it on 0.5. I'm going to now redirect this through a damper. So I'm going to put this little Yuga in between here. And this damping float will, well, you'll see what it'll do in a second. It'll make the animator layer weights more slowly follow. Or maybe not at all. Uh-oh. It should make it more slowly follow the input parameter. So current is not 0. Whoops, current is not target. That's should be the way that it runs. Because when it went to 0, then it just stopped updating. Hello? Well, what it should do is it should make the output smoothly follow the input. So let's... Oh, it never actually set the output. That's why. Whoops. Okay. Golem.set output to current. Because current is not where the story ends there. There we go. Okay. Theoretically, we are now... There you go. Okay, you just saw it transition back because it starts in the walking state. So now if I push upward, he slowly transitioned to walking. And now is transitioning back. That's damping is way too high. So let's go into here and say smoothing is now at 0.2. Also, I'm going to fix the animator, make the walk layer start with no weight. All right, now we're chilling out in idle mode here. Idle mode, walking mode, back to idle mode, to walking mode, back to idle mode. Nice. That's pretty good. All right, so let's see. I think that damping is probably pretty good. Let's fix the like flippiness of the rotation. So actually give you a little bit of speed to rotate your character. This guy's like super slow, so I have to do something to make this feel good. But rotation. We're gonna do this degrees per second, so like 90 degrees per second. No, that's gonna be really slow. I don't know. This is just a default. We'll play with it. 180 degrees. So the new heading is actually just going to be calculated from this. So let's do this. Bool idle equals not input left. So I'm kind of reversing all of this idle logic, but that's fine. Then I'm going to stick this into walking so that in here I can assume that there is going to be... Oh no, because if you press both in an opposite direction... Shoot, fine. Fine. Okay, right back to where we started. But what I want to do is I want to compute the new direction. So in here, if idle, IntelliSense is just not having a good day. If idle, then you don't need to do this. So this is the whole leave your heading alone. So I'm only going to update your heading in here now, which means that I can dispense with this. So if not idle, this is the direction you want to go. And right now we're just assigning it. Okay, I gotta pull the skeleton aspect up there. So what we want to do is we want to move from your current heading to your new heading. So we're gonna say, I can just lerp angle, which I think, yeah, wraps around 360. So we're gonna go from heading to target heading. So hold on, we need to move towards angle at the speed of rotation times smooth. Wow. I don't know, VS Code, like, if you don't let me type fast. So, okay, so that's gonna move that, assign the new heading. So this will make us slowly rotate in the direction that we actually want to go. There we go. So this is pretty good. Although the thing that this does do is you can tell your character is kind of already moving in the new direction. So what I want to do is I want to apply a movement damper. So if you are the angle between your heading and your target heading, actually we can do that, is if it's greater than 5 degrees, then just say your movement multiplier is penalized by move speed during rotation. Ooh, that was a bad misspelling. Might be getting about that time. Move direction is delta 2 vector 3 on XZ. And now we can say move speed equals move speed during rotation. And then down here, I'm going to say move direction times the move speed times your delta time. Use the smooth version. Alright, so if you are still rotating, then we use your move speed during rotation, which is probably going to be 0, because this guy barely moves anyway. Oh, I didn't assign a default to this. This is probably... It's just going to be 0. So if I go in my editor, I look at this, and it reloads. I should make this field expand, probably. Yep. Alright, another thing to do. Auto expand states and cells to show all contents. Okay, move speed during rotation is 0.1. Oh, that's huh. I thought that expanded more. I thought it became a 50-50 thing. Maybe it does the opposite. Maybe it turns into a 50-50 thing. Oh, it does. Oh well. So now when I'm moving this guy, yeah, you see how he kind of stays in place now? Even though you picked a new direction? Yeah, he kind of just barely moves at all. I tell you, it makes it feel very, like, punchy and intentional. And very slow. But hey, I mean, he's walking around. Let's I could throw down a little environment around him. Let's go to the old asset store. See if we can find our skeleton here a home. We're gonna go for a 3D environment that is free. Place that a skeleton would like to live. Nature starter kit. I wonder if that comes with... That probably doesn't actually come with anything. What's in the low poly environment pack? Oh, it comes with terrain meshes. Sweet, done. Low poly environment pack. Low poly character. Oh, look at the terrain. Hey. Alright, that's a very dinky little terrain, but I mean, I got what I paid for. It's fine. There we go. Now my skeleton's walking around on the terrain. Kind of. You know what? This low poly terrain is too low poly. Sorry, low poly environment pack. We're going to go back to the asset store. I'm kind of keen on that nature starter kit for some reason. What do you have, hand-painted forest? Do you come with terrain? 2 terrain textures and a demo scene. Alright, hand-painted forest. Holy cow. Oh, and it's got all the standard assets in it. Alright, let's see what you got. This is probably overkill for my little skeleton guy, but that's fine. Hand-painted forest environment free sample. Okay, I'll throw that demo scene on top of there and see where this took us. Hey, alright, we got a little crazy place over there. So, wait, missing prefab is the main character probably that they had. Why are these all red? Are all missing prefabs too? Sorry guys. Alright, I'm going to flatten this to do this. Wow, this thing is so slow. Wonder what they... I don't know. I don't want to get into optimizing a free asset that I just... But this is so... it's really bad. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna remove this guy to... I don't know, where are we moving you to? There we go. All right. Does the terrain receive shadows? Let's see what this looks like. Man, it's so slow, it's making the stream lag. There is just something not well put together about this. Alright, I think it might be the trees. I'm deleting all the trees. Goodbye, trees. That seems much better. Alright, goodbye, trees. I know you're hand painted and all, but I really just wanted this. There. I got my little guy walking around, and that means to start. I could take this and make something with it, that's for sure. So, I think the last piece, I'm going to delete these trees. Come on, just for whatever reason you're not working. So I think the last piece I could do, let's see, do I have time? Yeah, I got a little bit of time. Is make this camera actually follow this guy. So there's lots of scripts out there for camera follow and all that sort of thing, but I'm gonna implement it with Golem just because I can. So in the Golem, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a new cell that is probably another one of these like slightly more complicated ones. Oh, it's gonna be based on, I'm gonna copy paste the set transform position because it's gonna be kind of similar to that. In this case, I'm going to say set camera position. Set locked third person camera position. We're going to have the transform. We're going to have the offset. This means the camera is offset from the character. Default this to back on the z-axis, up on the y. 0, 10, negative 10, negative 8, something like that. Good enough. All right. So grab the position, say transform position equals that position plus the offset, and then look at the position. Okay, and then I'm going to say there's going to be a new cell called set locked third person camera position, which is also going to take that position there. The offset is set. The transform I'm changing is the main camera. It'd be nice to multi-select. Multi-select elements to click and drag as group. Also make space between elements and auto stuff around. So if I could, I'd really like to just right click right here and say, hey, I need about, you know, yay much space for something. Okay, so now the main character, or the main camera, will be offset by that amount from the character. There you go. Easy. Oh, yeah, and you really feel that that lack of movement now when you're turning. Hey, but now I've got a character that can walk around the world. And most of the code was all this extra stuff that I had to write because Golem didn't have any of these things built in. But I mean, obviously this stuff is just kind of boilerplate that will just get provided with the project as I kind of build these things up. Really all of the code that drove this is the skeleton character aspect here, the player input aspect, and the two scripts, the one that reads the keyboard input and fills out the player input aspect, and then the one that reads the player input aspect and uses that to, I mean, this is the heart of it right here. Just read the input, drive the skeleton's position and the idle and heading. And then the Golem takes care of everything else. It takes care of actually hooking up all of those values from the position, heading, and idle into, like, with nice damped parameters and everything else. Yeah, directly over down into these outputs in the actual program. Man, this is cool. This actually just came together really well. I mean, there's obviously a lot of stuff that I need to fix, or a lot of stuff that can be better about this, but this made this really smooth. Like, yeah, you can write this faster, but in terms of getting things hooked up, this was actually just nice, you know? You can write this faster if you're, like, if I were trying to just do this, what I would do, like, without Golem, what I would do is I would probably write this inside of a mono behavior. The mono behavior would have a bunch of properties. It would have, well, I mean, it would have all the properties that you saw in here. It would have reference to the body transform, a reference to the skeleton animator. I would have to put this float damper thing actually in as a local, either a coroutine or a, you know, some local thing that runs in every update loop. But instead, I got to just think about how I wanted the character's properties to change. And then this kind of took care of everything else. So I think I call this a success. This is a pretty good first test of Golem. I'm pleased with where this went. So next time, I mean, I know this isn't much of a game yet. It's just a character kind of walking around, being all lonely on a desolate world with no trees because performance reasons. But I think there's a lot more that I can do with this. And as Golem develops, there's really only, I think, I mean, I'm going to eat my words on this, but I think there's only one more major feature that Golem needs before I can start really just diving in with it and building games. And that is a messaging system. What I really want to be able to do is, I'm going to go to pink play mode here. In here, whenever there's a transition, and I should probably do more testing with transitions next time. I'm going to write that down. do something that requires a lot of transitions for testing. What I want to be able to do is receive events using the triggers here. Because right now I can check for the normal triggers like next and last, whatever I've defined in the enumeration, and then set those triggers in states. Other things can set those triggers, but it's all manual. It's all defined. You have to know what the trigger is for in order to set it, which works really well when you're writing internal scripting stuff or if you're interacting with known types. But sometimes you just, like, especially in a game jam, you just want to send messages out into the universe. You say, hey, guess what? Character skeleton just got hit. Thought you might want to know. And somewhere else, like a golem running the, I don't know, audio component of something, be like, oh, hey, skeleton got hit? Great, I'm going to play a sound effect. And the two pieces never need to know about each other. So that's the power of a messaging system, and I want to include that in Golem because I think it's a pretty natural fit. So that's, I think, is the last big piece before I kind of just take this thing on the road and see what it can do. Obviously, we ran across a bunch of things along the way here. Let's see, we came across actually quite a number of things that I kind of want to check on. I've got a nice little list over to the right here. I'm going to put these probably into issues on GitHub, so we can track the progress, see what's going on. But yeah, this is exciting. I'm glad I got to do this tonight, and things didn't totally just crash and burn here. So as always, you can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter is pretty simple fun. I haven't been posting much recently, but I'm trying to get back to that. I'm going to be doing another one of these streams. I should be on the schedule for later this week, probably Thursday, before some friends come in from out of town. So unlikely to do a Brothers Code this weekend, unfortunately. But if he's been doing any updates, I'll try and share them with you on Twitter and maybe post another teaser video that is not checkmarks exploding, which if you haven't seen that video, go watch it. I would crack up every time. Yeah, so if you've been hanging out tonight, thanks for joining me, and I will see y'all next time. Don't forget to follow if you want to see when that is. Should be Thursday. Keep you posted. Night, everybody.